Good morning, everybody. I don't have much time to do a live, but it's kind of funny. It's been an interesting week, and a lot of people scare me. A lot of people really, truly scare me. I've presented for years, constitutionalism, which for all those, again, all the slow folks who seemingly follow me but don't understand, constitutionalism, constitutions of your country, your region. If you don't have one, you've got nothing. Those are the highest laws of the land. Political parties in Canada, AGMs, statements of what you think are civil rights, or statements of we're going to enshrine this right within this party. Well, guess what? If you haven't been paying attention, all of those party policies not enshrined in a federal constitution, and absolutely, because none exist in Canada, provincial constitutions, if those rights aren't codified, meaning written down on a piece of paper as the highest laws of your province or territory, you got nothing. You've got an autocratic regime government that can call themselves conservative. And I'm going to say this again for those who don't get it. Conservative, primary definition, numeral 1, means physically balancing budgets and enshrining taxation with representation. You know, you and me being represented. None of us, and I repeat, nowhere in any province or territory, whether it's Liberal, Conservative, NDP, has ever enshrined the rights of taxation with representation, meaning they tax at will whichever regime gets into power as much as they want, by any mode, means necessary. So you can take the primary definition of conservative out. You can throw it away. There is no such thing as a Canadian conservative. I've never, ever met one. Not ever in my entire life. It's a lie. It's a lie. So these folks who come forward and tell me, I'm conservative, what does that even mean? Because it's not true. I brought forward constitutional conventions, bringing forward everything that should be yours in Canada. Everything that should be yours. Conservative, conservation of the human condition. That means civil rights, human rights, and the rights you were born with. If you don't have those codified in any constitution, which Canadians, if you don't get it, they're all found from section 92 all the way up to 145. You're civil, you're human, and you're born with, from a higher power, rights. That's where they're found. And you have zero constitutions. A political party having an AGM saying, we believe in the right to defend it. We believe in all these rights and freedoms. How did that work out in COVID? For Conservative, Liberal, NDP. I'm just curious, across Canada, how did that work out for you when it's not enshrined in any provincial constitution? Because again, there are none. You have an Executive Powers Act, which clearly takes away all of it and entrusts it in the hands of a divine elite human being, which none of you are. Me, you, none of you are. Because the Constitution says you're not citizens, you're subjects. You're subject to, like a slave. Again, these are not my words. This is your Constitution. I try to share international binding human rights how many people have been executed as world leaders of many countries from 1945 until the last one less than 6 months ago today, put to death for vast human rights violations. You can't even share that news in Canada. It's not Canadian news. It's not Canadian news. That's banned. I don't hear Pierre Poilievre, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, or anybody else talking about it. And they won't talk about it. Because if you're conservative, liberal, NDP, you don't want Canadians to have civil rights. You don't want Canadians to have human rights. You definitely don't want Canadians to have God-given rights you're supposed to be born with. That's for the divine elite politicians. Your Constitution, in the highest laws of your land, gives them the power to determine what those are for you. For you. A party can tell you everything they want that you want to hear in a convention. But the autocratic divine power of their leader to override all of it forever and a day, which they have since the dawn of Confederation, and all amendments of every province and territory since. Every single one of the 11 amendments, and even the provincial amendments. People try to tell me about amendment procedures. There's many amendment procedures in Canada, the most critical of which is so convoluted and requires so much of the divine elite, never going to happen. The things that matter to you most, the things you want the most, are never going to happen in the most strictest of strict amendment procedures that make it impossible to enact. That's why it's designed that way. That's why King's Court ruled that amendment procedure that way. That way, the divine human beings, kings born higher than God, state over church, church under state. That's our system. People can argue with me and keep reacting. It's not true. You're a liar. My party told me. My party told me. Are you high? Did you not go through COVID-19? How much of the conservative was conservative? The answer's none. Never going to be. Time for me to go to work. That's my video. Share, share, share. Canada will always be a gross human rights violator. They will always pick their group, no matter what the party is. Conservative is not conservative. Never has been, never will be. Again, it's very simple. Go look in a dictionary. And I would leave Canadian Oxford, and I would go sample Webster's USA. You will find the truth of my words. You can even go to Lexigalos, Russia. You will find the truth of my words. You can go to all kinds of We the People republics in real federalism with real regional constitutions in the division of powers where they actually have them, and you will find the truth of my words. You're being conned, bamboozled, tricked, manipulated, and taken advantage of. And Canadians always will be. And it just blows me away how many are so blind, ignorant, and unaware. Even now, people who followed me for some time, it makes me go, well, what are you? What are you, 5? Can you not read? And it's not to be mean, but at some point when people deny the idea of the RCMP being sent out to take children from their homes and their families to a far-off place where they get raped and murdered, and, oh no, it was TB. But the cure of TB was there since 1949, absolute since 1952, and that the children logged by the government and all church understate groups that had the children, who didn't collect the children, the government did for many, many decades. And the death rate claimed under tuberculosis is 2,000% higher for residential school children logged, not even ground penetrating radar. We're talking about logged deaths by the government and the churches themselves. And no one's read the Truth and Reconciliation reports. It's sick. When a Canadian talks like that, or where's your proof, or blah, 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 and it's like, are you a nut job? Are you the kind of person that denies the World War II Holocaust, or Rwanda, or can't even understand that so many mass amounts of world leaders have been sentenced to death? The last one just 6 months ago. If they didn't die in custody in the Hague, and I don't think Canadians realize what that means. Your politicians do. Conservative, Liberal, NDP, Green, we can go on. They're all one and the same, and they protect their crown, and they hide under the UK's veto. Those days come to an end. They came to an end in South Africa. They've come to an end in many, many countries all over the world. The day comes when the veto support isn't going to be there for Canada. It's going to come to an end. One day USA is going to say, you know what? Fuck you, Canada. It's over. Just like Israel, it's coming to an end. Even filthy, gross Joe Biden is already saying it's coming to an end, and it's coming to an end quick. We're going to have to remove our veto. We're going to have to unsupport you because I can't get reelected as a racist, crazy nut job. Yeah, I can't go with the historic KKK narrative of the Democrats. The Republicans are going to take us again because, in all honesty, again, real conservatives are Republicans in the United States. They're the real champions of everything about civil rights, human rights, and rights and freedoms left in the United States. And it gets eroded. It gets eroded from countries like Canada where they push that poison and they infect. We're one of the worst infectors of the United States, their next door neighbor. We infect them. We encourage their politicians to stray from rule of law and the highest laws of the land, the Constitution of the United States, and the more than 50 state constitutions, as well as 150 American Indian constitutions. It amazes me. It amazes me. But it doesn't. There's no education in Canada. Trying to share that stuff, they try to put it under Canadian news. That's not Canadian news. That's world truth, world news that the allies of World War II, your ancestors fought and died for, to give their lives in the never again. That education was promised to be given to you, but your filthy governments didn't want it, and all regional governments who implement education removed it entirely. That's how Canada operates. It uses its divine socialist fascist powers in its federalism to remove everything of the allies. And the days come, and they're learning real fast, and Canada's days are numbered, mark my words. That's my video. Share. There's going to be a purge soon enough on people who don't have a brain and I don't want with us. And I don't care. Like I said, I'd go down to no followers if that's what it takes. I just can't have the poison going with me. If you're with the political parties and the autocracy of Canada, go be that. Go join the Conservative, the Liberals, the NDP. I don't care, Green Party. We don't want you. We don't want Crown loyalists, Crown lovers. You're totally against everything we're working towards. I don't want a slave society and class structure. I don't want any massive socialism that we're going into. I don't need brain deads who think that carbon tax is ending tomorrow when it's not. Home heating, that's 1/10 of what carbon tax is. It's a joke, and people will blindly fall into it. Pierre Poilievre is totally with carbon tax, and it's us, the end users, who pay. And it amazes me that people don't see it. Florida, 67 cents a liter for gas. Alberta, $1.38, I think. I'm in Saskatchewan, $1.55 at its cheapest. This is the cheapest in Canada. It's a joke, man. It's a joke. And Canadians, in a large part, are a joke. That's my video. I gotta go. Gonna be late. Bye now.